around to be able to tell the tales, Mr. Rock.
Yeah, I'll be around for a bit too.
So I have a question about the Hilt, the origin saber, theory sabers. Did you design it in the Hilt using the same technique that you designed the very first lightsaber? Because I know that Theory, he usually designs all of his saber hilts from this company called TXQs, but when you helped him design it, did you use the same method you used for the very first lightsaber?
Yeah, it's the same one. As I said, I thought, we make these things from what I first ever tried was I tried 6 of the strips around because that's naturally what you would do. I ended up packing them into 7, so we did it with 6. No, I did, and my biggest thing on the first movie, I loved that red button when I saw it. It was never used. Luke had, it was, with a stick stuck in the end of it, it was unstable and everything. And Luke holding it where he held it, he used my bubble strip to fire it up. If you watch in Obi-Wan's cave, that's what he does. So my big thing was I always wanted to see a lightsaber which was controlled by the red button, and the one from Theory Sabers, the button controls everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was history coming alive for me from what I dreamt and how it should be. So things like that, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. I always thought for sure that Luke always ignited the lightsaber from the red button too, but I know it was from all the other props and toys and everything. It was on the bubble strap.
Yeah, and that was never intended. It was just easier for him, and with the blade, it was so unwieldy that it was easier for him just to hold it and do that.
Yeah, totally.
Pretend, because no one knew in those days, what is this lightsaber? How does it work? What is it? Anything, because it never worked. Now I've got a lightsaber that works and it lights up and the blade lights up, and it's like it's such a thrill for me. It gives me a feeling of what all the fans go through each time.
Yeah. So, I know you designed obviously the origin saber. What are your thoughts on the Revenge of the Sith looking one that I guess George kind of changed and all that? This isn't from Theory. This is from Saber Theory. This is just the Revenge of the Sith replica.
Yeah,
because obviously it's different.
That's better than my big peeve was. I finished Star Wars. I designed the Nostromo and did all the interiors for Alien. Did Life of Brian. I designed that fully with Terry Gilliam. I'd had enough and I wanted to start making my own movies, and I'd written this Black Angel film, the short film, because we had short films in those days as packages. There were no adverts or trailers. It was just a 25 or 30-minute short film and the main film. And George, partly as a thank you, but partly because he didn't like the other scripts that were submitted. They weren't in line with Empire, the sequel. He triggered mine by guaranteeing to put it out in the cinemas with Empire. So the British government gave me £25,000 grant, which was available to young filmmakers. So I didn't do Empire. And John Barry was directing his first film, Saturn III. And so Norman Reynolds took it over, the art director on the first Star Wars. And he hired a set decorator who, in my opinion, and he was a dear friend of mine, but should never have been doing science fiction. If you don't understand the genre, you shouldn't do it. So his lightsaber, as you know, he cut pieces out of the T-strip and stuck rivets around it, which is something I would never do because it humanized it. This has to be a mystical weapon, and which unfortunately became the standard, went all the way through Star Wars, right up until that Sith one, I think. Once his hand was cut off, they brought in a new one. He had to create his own one then, and Ewan chose that one, which was completely different.
Right here, please.
Yeah, so that was totally different. You know the story that I hero worship Dave Filoni.
Yes, I worship him too.